Once you turn 60, the landscape of life shifts. The silence grows louder, the phone rings less, and the people you once showed up for. Some vanish without a sound. And while we all want to believe that family will always be there, the truth is sometimes they won't. Not because they don't care, but because life pulls them in different directions. Their kids, their jobs, their chaos. So you learn that the most reliable support isn't always found in blood. It's built through intention, awareness, and fierce self-respect. These are the 5 pillars you must start building now before life demands them. We don't talk enough about how our physical strength is directly tied to our emotional resilience. But think about it. What happens when getting out of bed becomes painful? When lifting a bag of groceries feels like a mountain? When you can't walk up the stairs without gasping for air? You begin to shrink not just physically, but emotionally. You stop showing up. You stop trying. You start avoiding life. That's why I say your physical health is not a luxury. It's your freedom. And it's not about looking young. That's not what this is. This is about movement, balance, stability, and strength, because these things give you choices. They let you live on your terms. Do you want to travel without someone holding your arm? Do you want to carry your own bags, get in and out of the car without pain, and sleep without aching joints waking you up at 2 a.m.? Then don't wait for illness to make you take your body seriously. You have to understand the body you have at 60 is not going to fix itself. It needs your partnership. It needs your commitment. And no one else can do it for you. No one is coming to save your health, not your kids, not your spouse, not your doctor. You have to show up. Start walking every day, even if it's slow, even if it's short. Start stretching your body, your back, your legs, your arms. Build some muscle. Yes, even now, especially now. Drink more water. Eat real food. Let your body breathe and sweat. People might say, oh, at this age, I'm too old to worry about all that. But I will tell you something louder. You're too old not to. When you take care of your health, you don't just look alive, you feel alive. You feel strong enough to face the world, to handle setbacks, to hold yourself upright both physically and mentally. Because when your body is strong, your mind feels safe. And when your mind feels safe, you stop living in fear of the future. One day, if you're lucky, you'll live to see 70, 80, even 90. And on that day, you'll look back and realize that the most important investment you ever made wasn't in property or pensions or people. It was in this. Your ability to walk, lift, breathe, rest, and move through life with your laugh. You can't outsource this. You can't fake this. You must earn this. So let this be the foundation. Let your health be the ground you stand on. Because when your body feels capable, you feel capable. And at 60 or 70 or 80, that's not just power. That's freedom. Let's talk about something many people avoid. Money. Because when you're 60 and older, it's not about riches, it's about security, dignity, and peace of mind. Money becomes a shield, a quiet, invisible protection from things that used to keep you up at night. It's the difference between asking and deciding, between hoping someone will help you and knowing you can help yourself. No one teaches us how painful it feels to need something and not have the means to get it. Not because we want luxury, but because we want options. We want to choose the good chair, the doctor who listens, the safe neighborhood, the food that actually nourishes us, the small vacation that reminds us we're still alive. When you don't have financial freedom after 60, you become vulnerable not just to the economy, but to people. And that's when dependency starts to feel like a slow erosion of your self-worth. You begin to feel small when asking for help. You start making yourself quieter, less visible, less demanding. You stop dreaming, you settle, you shrink. That's why I say your finances are not about greed. They are about self-respect. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I didn't come from wealth. I didn't have the best paying job. I didn't have the privilege to save much. And to that, I say neither did most people. But financial strength isn't always about big numbers. It's about being smart with what you have. It's about learning, budgeting, cutting out what doesn't matter. It's about investing in what brings value, not just what brings temporary relief. You don't need to have millions, but you do need to know how to manage your hundreds and thousands. At 60, money doesn't just buy things. It buys freedom from shame. It buys you the right to say, I'm okay. I've got this. It lets you stay in your home without fear. It lets you go to the doctor when you need to, not when it's too late. It lets you help your grandchildren if you want to not, because you're expected to. More importantly, it means you are not a burden. You're not dependent. You don't have to wait for someone else to say, let me see if I can help. You say, no need, I've got me. And listen, this isn't about isolating yourself. It's not about rejecting help or love or connection. It's about making sure you're not forced into choices that compromise your values, your peace, or your pride. So start now. Know what comes in and what goes out. Downsize if you need to, but do it with power, not shame. Learn to say no to things that drain you financially. Learn to say yes to things that protect your future. Build something, even if it's small. A side hustle, a skill, a service, passive income, anything that gives you control over your own life. Because when you turn 60, 70, 80, no one wants to feel like they're waiting for someone to take care of them. No one wants to feel like their life depends on someone else's schedule, generosity, or approval. So build your shield, even if it's $1 at a time. Even if it means sacrificing now to protect your peace later. Money will never replace love, but it will allow you to love yourself in the form of stability, dignity, and the quiet courage of independence. And that is priceless. There's something powerful that happens when life feels unpredictable. You start searching for something, anything that feels steady. And at 60, unpredictability becomes part of the landscape. People leave, health changes. Roles shift. Some mornings feel heavy, some nights feel too quiet. And that's when routine, simple, solid routine becomes the invisible anchor that holds you steady. A lot of people underestimate the power of small, daily rituals. They think routine is boring, repetitive, mundane. But the truth is, routine is one of the most sacred things you can give yourself. When life feels chaotic, routine says, here's one thing you can count on. It becomes your emotional grounding, not because it changes what happens around you, but because it stabilizes what's happening within you. Having a time to wake up, a corner where you drink your tea or coffee in silence, a book by your bedside that you return to every night, a walk at the same hour where your thoughts settle and your breath resets. These things may seem small, but they're not. They are soul preserving. Because after 60, you start to realize something. It's not always the big moments that define your peace. It's the consistency of the small ones. You don't need a whirlwind to feel alive. You need rhythm. You need your own beat to walk through life with. And more than anything, you need structure, not rigidity, but structure. You see, people often say they want freedom, but what they really want is peace. And peace doesn't come from having nothing to do. It comes from having something meaningful to return to each day. Routines protect your mind. They calm your nervous system. They help you navigate loneliness. They give shape to the days when everything feels formless. And they remind you gently, lovingly, that your life still belongs to you. There's nothing lazy about having structure. There's nothing passive about waking up with purpose, even if your calendar isn't full. It could be morning stretches or prayer, cleaning your kitchen as a form of meditation, reading one chapter before bed, journaling for 10 minutes each morning, watering your plants every afternoon, listening to a favorite song while cooking. These are not chores. These are rituals. These are emotional nutrients, because when you are no longer defined by your career or your parenting or external busyness, routine becomes identity. It reminds you, I still have rhythm, I still have order, I still have myself. And that's important, because one of the hardest parts of growing older is feeling invisible. A routine makes you visible to yourself. It says you matter enough to be cared for, even if no one else is watching. So don't underestimate what a routine can give you. It won't make everything perfect, but it will make things stable. And when the world feels too loud, too lonely, or too overwhelming, a solid routine will whisper back, you're okay. You're home. Let's tell the truth about friendship after 60. It changes. The big crowds get smaller. The loud laughs at noisy dinners are replaced with quiet conversations at cozy tables. The people you thought would always be there, some aren't. Some left without warning. Others slowly faded. And some you had to let go because the connection was no longer kind, no longer mutual. And that's hard. But it's also where something beautiful begins to happen, because as the crowd thins, the circle deepens. You don't need 20 friends. You don't even need 10. What you need is a small, sacred circle of trustworthy people, the kind who don't just know your name, but know your truth. The ones who sit with you in silence, not just your celebrations. The ones who don't need an invitation to show up, they already know when to come. At 60, friendship stops being about fun and starts being about belonging. You want people who feel like home. People who don't flinch when you're struggling. People who can look you in the eye and say, you don't have to go through this alone. These are not casual companions. These are your emotional first responders. They are the ones you call when the news is bad, when your health takes a turn, when your memory hits you out of nowhere and leaves you breathless. They are the ones who remember what matters to you, who check in, who notice the small changes in your tone, your energy, your absence. And the truth is, these friendships don't come often. They are rare, precious, and they take nurturing. Not every day, not every week, but consistently. Because trust isn't built in noise, it's built in presence. At this age, you don't need people who drain you. You need people who see you, not just for who you were, but for who you're becoming. People who ask, how's your heart? People who laugh with you, cry with you, sit in the mess with you, and don't try to fix it, just hold space for it. And sometimes your most trustworthy friends aren't even your age. Sometimes they're younger souls who respect your wisdom. Sometimes they're older souls who walk a few steps ahead, lighting the way. What matters isn't age. It's alignment. It's depth. It's consistency. It's safety. Let me be clear, trustworthy friends are not perfect. They mess up. They get busy. But they take accountability, they come back, they care deeply, and they show it in small, steady ways. And if you've lost friends recently or feel like you don't have this circle yet, I want you to know this, it's not too late. You can still find your people, even if it's one person, one soul who sits beside you, listens without judgment, and reminds you that you still matter. So protect your circle. Don't keep everyone in it. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life, but the ones who do hold on to them like treasure. Because when the world feels uncertain, when your body feels different, when your days grow quieter, it won't be the crowd you'll crave. It will be that small circle of trustworthy friends who feel like warmth, who bring light into your life, who remind you that you are not walking this road alone. And that kind of connection, that kind of love, that is your safety net. That is your strength. That is one of the greatest gifts you can have as you grow older. Let's talk about something no one can hand you, no one can fake for you, and no one can take away from you. It's not money. It's not family. It's not even health. It's emotional resilience, the quiet, invisible armor that keeps you standing when everything around you says you should have fallen. By the time you reach 60, you've likely lived through some storms. Maybe it was a divorce that has shattered your identity. Maybe it was the loss of someone who was supposed to stay longer. Maybe it was betrayal, financial setbacks, health scares. Maybe it was just the long, aching silence of feeling invisible in a world that moves too fast and values you too loudly. And yet you're still here. That right there is resilience, not perfection, not endless positivity. But the strength to keep going, even when life gives you every reason not to. Emotional resilience doesn't mean you don't cry. It means you've learned how to wipe your tears and keep walking. It doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you've stopped fearing it, because at this stage in life, you realize something powerful. Pain is not your enemy. Avoiding it is. There's a quiet power in choosing not to be destroyed by the things that tried to break you. There's wisdom in knowing that not every wound needs to be shared, and not every insult deserves your reaction. And there's freedom in realizing that you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. Resilience isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's not dramatic. It's in the quiet decision to get up every morning, to keep showing up for your life, to find joy in the little things, even if your heart still remembers the big losses. It's in the grace you give yourself on hard days. It's in the ability to sit in discomfort without falling apart. It's in your choice to forgive not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. When you were younger, you may have thought strength looked like never falling apart. Now, you know that real strength is about how you rebuild. It's about how you carry yourself after being cracked open by life. And let's be honest, at 60, you don't have the same energy to explain yourself, defend yourself, or chase things that don't feed your soul. That's resilience to knowing what no longer deserves your energy. You begin to choose peace over proving, silence over reaction, distance over drama, and boundaries over burnout. You realize that resilience isn't about holding it all together. It's about knowing when to let go. Let go of expectations. Let go of bitterness. Let go of people who can't meet you where you are. Because the truth is, your emotional health is your job now. It's your sacred work. You're no longer surviving for others, you're living for yourself. And when life shakes you, and it will, resilience is what steadies you. It's the inner armor you've been building quietly for decades. And though it can't be seen, it shows up in the way you walk into a room, the way you respond with calm instead of chaos, and the way you hold your own hand when no one else does. You've earned this armor. Every scar made it stronger. Every heartache made it wiser. And now, as the world keeps spinning and people keep changing and time keeps moving, your emotional resilience will be the one thing that never leaves your side. So here you are standing in a season of life that many fear but few prepare for. You've walked through decades of lessons, love, loss, and transformation. And now, more than ever, you understand the truth. Your well-being is your responsibility. Not your family's, not your children's, not society's. Once you turn 60, the safety net you thought would always catch you may not. And that realization is not bitterness, it's clarity. Because once you stop waiting for others to carry you, you begin to stand taller on your own. The 5 pillars we've explored: your physical health, your finances, a solid routine, a small circle of trustworthy friends, and emotional resilience. These are not luxuries. They are lifelines. They are the quiet structures that hold you up when life begins to thin out. They are the parts of your life you get to choose, build, and protect regardless of who shows up for you or who doesn't. You don't need a crowd. You don't need approval. You don't even need to be fully understood. What you need is peace. And peace comes from knowing you've got yourself truly, fully, and without apology. So take care of your body like it's your home, because it is.